Kellie-Jay Keen, let me start with you. Great to have you back on the show. Do you think that we are now overly tough on men in modern society?
Well, no. I mean, 90% of all single-parent families are women, so we do get left holding the baby. So I think maybe there is a crisis in masculinity, as in some men need to just man up. And that doesn't mean that they can't suffer mental health. That just means you need to face your demons and sort it out. And I don't really see that that's society's issue. I mean, you know, there's lots of things that go on for women and men. Maybe women are better at dealing with it, but that's up to men to actually sort it out. You know, 90% of single parent families, like, women are doing the hard stuff, staying behind, looking after the kids, and men just seem to get off scot-free. So no, I don't think society's too tough.
However, Kellie-Jay Keen, the bottom line is that men do the manual labour. It's a majority of men that go to war or in the front line when it comes to civilian policing.
Yeah, that's right. And it's the minions, isn't it? It's not powerful men that go to war. It's not powerful men doing manual labour. It's powerful men making the decisions to make weaker men do the manual labour and go to war. I mean, if women were calling the wars and we were causing all the destruction in the world, I'd agree with you, but we're not. I don't think it's as simple as that. I think it's power structures that leave some men doing some really terrible jobs that require, like, fatal accidents.
Kellie-Jay, the high suicide rate among men would suggest we're not getting it right in relation to men in society.
Well, that's true. I just want to make a couple of corrections. Number one, I'm not a feminist. And number two, I don't think men that go on the front line and go into battle are weak. That is not what I said. But I don't think it's I don't think it would be the decision for any man to go and fight for their country when their country are making decisions that aren't really in the best interests of their nation. And I think that's why many men have gone to war in the past. My grandfather also served as a soldier, and so I'm certainly not saying that he was a weak man. He also stood by his duty, and he was a very valiant man in many aspects of his life, including being a manual sheepskin worker and a shepherd. So let me just correct that there and then. When it comes to the suicide rate of men, you know, I think Jordan Peterson has got the right message, where you actually sort out your own life, you actually take responsibility, you are dutiful, you owe your wife, your children, your family, your loyalty and your trust, and you get that in return. The point about the single-parent families is not just that women stay behind, it's that maybe both people don't put enough effort in, but often it is men that leave. And I don't think that too many women actually leave a happy marriage or a situation where their children become fatherless in the way that many men do. And I'm also not going to talk about the family courts. I think the family courts are absolutely dreadful for most families. I don't think many children get the right outcome from family courts. I know women in situations of terrible abuse that have to give custody to men. And I know men that are really decent fathers that don't get to see their children. But that is not the broadest picture. And in my own life, anecdotally, which I know doesn't equate to data, but in my own life, most of the women I know who are having single-parent families are completely abandoned by the fathers. So that might be anecdotal, but I just think it is worth saying. When it comes to suicide, I really think society needs to address what the hell is happening to men, that they feel that that is the only solution to whatever it is they're facing. I don't know if circle time and mental health and all that stuff is necessarily good for anyone. I think sometimes you just have to get on with it and be a little bit more stoic.
I stand corrected, Kellie-Jay, in relation to the fact that you're not a feminist. I agree with you vehemently on your position regarding trans rights. For more information about what you do, people can go to Standing for XX, which is your Twitter handle, or your website, Adult Human Female Store. Kellie-Jay Keen, is the issue that society is uncomfortable talking about women's time of the month?
Well, it might be, but I'm quite happy about that, to be honest. I don't want to talk about it. I don't really need numerous conversations about it. I don't want to talk to my boss about it. Similarly, I'm sure menopausal women don't want to talk about it. I mean, I totally agree that we should be able to, as mature adults, to say when we can't come in without having to explain in graphic detail why that might be. It just seems a peculiar idea. And also this idea that if we then say that periods are just this terrible, terrible thing for every single woman, which they're not, I don't know what message that delivers to our kids, that actually it should be taboo. I mean, I think bodily function should be relatively taboo, to be honest. I don't want to hear about anybody's bodily functions.
No, but men don't.
Yeah,
men don't.
No, it's not good.
No, Kellie-Jay, I don't want to interrupt you and be a dominating man, but men don't suffer from period pains. They don't go through the menopause. Don't you think there should be more provision for women whose bodies are a much more sophisticated and complex chemical organism? I mean, a female body is built and designed to incubate a baby. Don't you think it's different rules for women, particularly given that period pain is not an illness?
Well, of course, it's different rules for women because we do have period pains. I just don't necessarily think that needs legislation. It just needs decent working practices and relationships with your employer. It doesn't seem, it just doesn't make any sense that there's legislation that would say women could have 3 days off a month. Well, whoopee. I'd rather have better provisions for women to have paid leave when they have to take time off for their children being ill, and some decent employment rights generally for everybody in the UK, not just women and periods.
Kellie-Jay, we've got a double helping. Will you come and see us in the studio and be a panellist soon?
Send a car anytime.
Definitely. We'd love to have you back. It's been too long. There you go, Kellie-Jay Keen.